This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 588 of the Dressage Radio Show, official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by ProStride. Tonight, we will have our friend Meghan McIsaac on to talk about some online education she's been involved with. And in keeping with the online educational theme, we will have Karen Rohlf to tell us about her program. Then we'll be joined by our friend Wendy Murdoch. After that, Reese and I will answer a listener question for the Total Settle Fit tip.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
This is Philip Parks from Rockwood, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Well, hello, Phil.
Hi, Reese. How are you doing?
Every time you always laugh when I say that. I'm good.
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny because we've been chatting for 2 hours now.
2 hours.
And then there's like a reintroduction.
Everybody, we've been reintroduced.
Like we haven't been talking, but we have. So that's kind of why I laugh. It's a little bit silly, but it's
we've
had
a busy night. It is. Yeah. We've had a busy night already, and Phil, I actually had a busy day today.
Tell me what you were up to.
Yeah, I was getting into trouble as always. So rode my horses this morning and they were really, really good. We're having quite a weather change tonight. It's supposed to get actually quite cold, rain. But the Haggard's 3-day event is going on at the horse park. So I went to a horse show. It was exciting. And I scribed. So I've got some tips for everybody. You know, I always scribe at this event on they always ask me on a Thursday because it's, I think, hard to find volunteers, but I'm around. So, and I coach a lot of eventers. So I really think it's a nice time to sort of get in the box, get my volunteer hours for our organization, one of our local organizations, and help out and all the things on why you scribe. But, you know, when you're sitting in the judge's box with a judge, and obviously I couldn't see a lot.
Yeah, you gotta be writing.
Yeah, you're writing, but you're sitting with the judge and you can kind of peek up every once in a while and you kind of see the horses go around, and you really learned so much by scribing. And I think as an instructor, it's so good to remember the difference between training and riding in a horse show. And I think that was highlighted for me. Yeah. So for example, they had quite a difficult entrance to this. This was the 3-star test, which would be a kind of equivalent to our third level. They did have half pass, no flying changes. So they had trot, half pass, shoulder in, 3-loop serpentine with simple changes. They had to enter in the canter and trot at eye. So that is really difficult. And so I was the judge at the side. We were at B, and the judge, it was interesting because she's like, as soon as I see that canter and as soon as I see that horse on the forehand and pulling the rider or labored, she said labored quite a bit with the horses. She's like, I just can never get it out of my head for the rest of the test.
It's that impression, first impression that we talked about.
First impression. The next thing they had to do was I watched literally like 40 tests today, or scribed for 40 tests, but come down the center line, you did a trot. So you had to do quite a difficult transition right in front of the C judge. You took a left in the trot and went right to a shoulder in. I do not think maybe one person of the group I saw rode a solid shoulder in. Everybody pulled the horse to the inside. Everybody was out of alignment. And I thought that was really interesting and so really we didn't give above a 6.5 in a shoulder in at all because they weren't good. The other thing that happened quite often was they had a 10-meter circle and the haunches would fall out of the circle almost, I think I wrote that 40 times. It was unbelievable. Nobody rode a quality circle. So it's just good to remember when you are going to a horse show, it is a different thing than training. It is, you are literally up against what would be the directives of the test. And so remember, a circle is a 10-meter circle is a circle, a 10-meter circle. Don't fall out on the haunches. Make sure your shoulder in is on 3 tracks. For example, make sure you ride your transitions. In this particular test, there were 2 sections of medium walk. Oh, she hammered people because they didn't walk correctly. So just as a really good reminder for me as a coach, but also someone who rides tests, it is a different skill when you're riding a test versus training. So that was my takeaway from the day.
Present your horses well.
Yes.
Nail those transitions. Get your correct angles.
Yep. Know your test. We probably had, of the 40 I saw, 10 had a mistake of their test. 2 people got eliminated because they had 3 errors. Yeah. Ooh. I couldn't believe it. And this is a big deal. Yeah. Now, it's a 3-star event. But again, this year's different because people probably haven't had the prep and that kind of stuff. But, knowing your test is a mental game. It's nothing to do with the horse. So that was interesting. So
well,
that's my takeaway.
Good tips. Yeah. Lots to think about anyways.
Exactly. So as you're at home, I really am a firm believer of you need to pick a day and you need to ride a test. So you practice that skill. My test day is Thursday because one of my horse's owners comes and she's a local judge and she starts judging everybody. And you better be getting your center lines right or she's going to yell at you. So, good. Yeah, shout out to Stanley. Great. We love Stanley. She's great. No, it's fantastic because she doesn't put up with not a straight center line in a square halt. I'll tell you that right now. So it's good. Yeah.
That's great.
So those are my tips. So I hope that helps everybody.
Well, we got a bit busy show.
We do.
We were continuing to think about and highlighting online educational things, and we saw that that Meghan McIsaac was doing some stuff on our, that comes across on our Facebook feed because she's a good friend, and so we thought, let's have her on. And then I was like, whoa, who else is out there? And then, Karen Rohlf, Dressage Naturally in Ocala, has been doing online education since, I think she said 2010. So we're like, we need to get you on. We're continuing to bring these people on who are offering resources for people to learn when they can't travel or when their coaches can't come in and all that great stuff. So, if anybody out there has suggestions, we're gonna continue with this and send us an email and we're gonna get everybody on.
Yeah, we love it. We want to help everybody. Exactly. So we're gonna get started, but we're gonna have a quick commercial break from ProStride and come back with Meghan McIsaac.
ProStride is the all-natural solution for lameness. It uses the power of your horse's own blood to relieve pain, reduce inflammation, and improve mobility to keep them sound. ProStride can be completed stallside by your veterinarian in just 20 minutes with no need for trailering. ProStride is backed by years of science and success stories. Olympians to pleasure riders, trainers, horse owners, and their veterinarians trust the improved performance and lasting results reported with a single injection. No series, no daily supplements, and no monthly regimen. When every stride counts, demand the difference they deserve. Ask your vet about ProStride. Learn more at prostride.com.
Well, tonight we are so happy to have our old friend, but also friend of the show and our guest, and we have not had her, and it's been way too long, certified instructor, FEI rider, trainer, and just all around amazing person, Meghan McIsaac. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, you guys. Thank you for having me on. It's so great to be back.
Well, we have missed you during quarantine and lockdown, but you've been doing some amazing things. You have been doing... drum roll, live with Lindenhoff. Let's talk about training barns. So as part of our online learning resources, we wanted to call you up and find out how you've been doing and what you've been up to. So I'll let you get started.
I think like everybody else, I've been going a little stir crazy, and I have a wonderful friend who does the Facebook Live. And if it wasn't for her, I would not be on Facebook Live. And she came up with a great idea, which was talking about the USDF instructors program. And so I am technically challenged, and she made me go to this link, and we just discussed the instructors program. And It's a great Facebook Live. You can go to the link and learn all about it. Anybody who's interested in the program. And then we also have, I think, 20 more videos. We meet every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And coming up with topics, I was thinking about you guys. I don't know how you do it. How many episodes have you had? 500?
Yeah.
I've had,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I've
this is
had-
episode 588, like that.
we don't
And
even
haven't done
know
all of them.
anymore.
We didn't start at number 1. We started a year or two in. So there's a lot.
It's a lot.
Anyway, I only have 20, and I'm like, now what do I talk about? I don't know.
But see, we just call you. We just find things to
We
talk
know,
about.
and
It's
they can
great.
talk about what yeah.
Well, it's really hard coming up with topics. And so we, some of the topics that we talked about was, how do you prepare for your first horse show? How do you prepare for your first clinic? How do you retire a horse? So we've talked about those topics. And right now she comes to my barn and videos. And so we just did turn on the forehand and leg yield. Next week, we're going to be talking about shoulder in. And these are kind of cool. I like them because I do them well. And then I show a shoulder in not so well, overbent, falling out the shoulder, maybe losing the trot, and then trying to just touch on how to fix it a little bit. So that's what we've been doing on Facebook Live.
It's pretty fun.
Love it. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then the other thing I did was today was USDF, actually. I wrote an article on 5 benefits of becoming a certified instructor, and it's on your dressage website. So yeah, I've been doing those types of things. It's good.
Well, what were your 5 benefits of becoming a certified instructor?
Well, you did call me old, and so I'm
Old
like
friend.
I'm in the barn right now. I don't know if I can remember all of the benefits, but I will. I will try. The first one is that really you just become a part of an elite group. I mean, just really meet like-minded people that you can connect with, which is, I think, really special. The next one is they promote you. USDF is really proud of their certified instructors, and they have articles such as Meet the Instructor. They ask to help to have you a part of their article and ask you questions and ask you to write an article. You can apply for grants through the Dressage Foundation, which is amazing, to further education. Or if you want to become certified, they also have a whole list on the website. So you have free advertising. So I think that's 4, and I always forget 5, the last one. So I have no idea what that is. Sorry.
They're gonna have to go check out the USDF
Yeah, you have to check out
website.
yourdressage.com. Maybe it's it's really good, actually. No, kidding aside, I also would completely second Megan on the certified instructor program, and she and I are both 2 people that would love to talk about. If you want to further contact us about it, it's a great program and one that instructors should really strive for, and it's really important. So I love it. So I'm going to second that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some Facebook Live future episodes you have coming up?
I think right now we're just going to be all under saddle. So we're going to work on haunches in, half passes, maybe canter pirouettes. And so we're just going to go through exercises and or actually really movements. And then maybe we'll progress on to training exercises. And I have to admit, it's really challenging for me. I love riding and I love teaching, and then to have someone videoing and to do it live. Like there aren't second chances. Like you have to do it right then and there. So it's really, really challenging, but I am enjoying it because you have to break things down. You have to become a better instructor. So it's just like the instructor's program.
Yeah, it's true. Phil, because our show isn't live, we record it, and Phil said he would quit if it was going to be live. So we
really.
I've been on air once live with Glenn on the morning show, and that was enough for me. It's stressful.
Well,
it's super stressful.
My biggest thing is, so when we first started doing them, I'm very serious, like when it's my work, and everyone used to accuse me too when I was riding, and it doesn't look like you're having fun. And I'm like, I'm concentrating. I'm having a blast. I want to do well. So it's the same thing with the Facebook Live. I was like, I want to do well. I'm being videoed, you know, you want to like give great answers. And I would get these comments like, smile, Megan, you look so unhappy. And you're like, oh my God.
Also, why the radio show is not a video. Because I would text me that quick. Because I'm no, we're not doing that.
It is super hard, especially when it's not riding. Like I come alive on the horse, obviously. But when it's like I'm looking at my phone and we're sitting in the office and we're just having a conversation and I'm just looking into this little black eyeball, it's really awkward.
Super awkward. Yeah. I'm glad we don't do our show, you know, like recorded video. We don't even turn on our cameras on Skype.
No, we do not.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm in my yoga pants. No way.
My mom said I have a face for radio, so that's how I got the
Oh, that's so bad. Yeah, but I'm glad people are watching it. That was the other thing. I thought, oh, is anyone even going to watch it? And is it going to be helpful? And we've had a lot of responses. People have found it really helpful. And I was shocked when Alex with USDF, your video for potential certified instructors, as well as anyone who's in the program, they're going to share the link. And I was like, how cool is that?
I love it. So on that note, how can we find the link to it?
It is on Your Dressage. It's also going to be on my website, which is lindenhoff.com. So yeah, those two places. And I think it's on USDF as well.
I love it. Yes. You can find it very close to where our podcast is also listed. So I love it. So real quick, you're also doing a training horse business or sales horse business, right?
I am. Yep. We have wonderful sale horses that have been imported. Right now, I have a beautiful 12-year-old Trakehner gelding who's black. He's schooling small tour. I won. He's great temperament. He's short too. He's 16'1", and he's very fancy. So if anyone is looking for a horse, please give me a call.
And how do we reach you?
608-445-8531. Feel free to call or text. I usually respond in 24 hours. Otherwise, I didn't get it. You can email me, Lindenhoff, LINDINHOF, LLC @gmail.com. And I do have a website, which is lindenhoff.com. So yeah, I'd love to hear from anyone and help them through the instructors program, or if you're looking for a horse.
Love it. Well, Megan, thank you so much. And we look forward to continuing to see all of your online resources that you're doing.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's great to talk to you guys.
Right after this commercial break from Han Plastics, we're going to come back with Karen Rohlf.
Tired of having your boot sucked off mid-stride by sticky mud? Mud control grids are the solution. Frustrated by mushy, slippery messes at the paddock gates? Mud control grids are the solution. Is keeping the ground underfoot stable in your sacrifice areas and dry lots causing you to lose sleep? Once again, mud control grids are the solution. You're seeing a trend here, aren't you? Well, Han Plastics Mud Control Grids really has come up with the best solution. Unlike other plastic grids on the market, mud control grids can be installed directly on top of the mud. Let me say that again. Right on top of the mud. You don't need to do any ground preparation. The mud control grids are an instant solution to your high-traffic, muddy areas. No more having to fill in with sand, gravel, shavings, or even old carpet. What's more, mud control grids will allow grass to grow underneath of them, so they can be taken back up once the area is dry or recovered. Or you can leave them right where they are and take over again when the rainy season comes back around. Han Plastics mud control grids are designed to be installed as a temporary or permanent solution. You can take them with you move. Put down a lot, put down a few. Add more each year. The ultimate mud control solution. Check out Han Plastics Mud Control Grids at mudgrid.ca. Oh, an added bonus, your tractor or gator won't sink up to its axles with Han Plastics Mud Control Grids in place. So there's that. www.mudgrid.ca.
Well, today we are so happy to have Karen Rohlf of Dressage Naturally. She is one of our online resource segments that our listeners called in, and we're really happy to have you on the show. Karen, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to talk to you. I love sharing what I do.
Fantastic. We do too. I think that's why we're all here tonight, for sure. So, Karen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, where do I start? Well, I think I'll talk about the part maybe your listeners care about, which is what I teach. So I do what I call Dressage Naturally, and that is a result from my decades of dressage experience. So I trained under and then alongside of Ann Gribbons, who's one of the top judges in the world back in New York, and did that for decades, and then quite accidentally stumbled into natural horsemanship, and then started investigating that as I had some good results with horses. And I just needed to reconcile those two worlds, because that was back in the late 90s when you couldn't use the word dressage and natural horsemanship in the same sentence. So I've been spending since then really trying to bring together the best of both worlds. So the art and gymnastic training and science of dressage with more partnership-based principles to create more, willing partners and really more happy athletes for the horse and the student. That's the nutshell.
Well, yeah. Well, that sounds great. Maybe we could delve in a little bit further into maybe some examples or more about your program.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, it really it really combines both of those worlds. And so I found myself as a dressage trainer, Grand Prix dressage trainer, very, successful, I thought. And then seeing this sort of missing piece of information. So I think about mental, emotional, physical parts of the horse. And in my dressage education, I learned a lot about the physical and, of course, some about mental, emotional, because you can't train any horse without knowing something about that. But then when I looked into more natural horsemanship, I'll put that in air quotes, whatever that means, partnership-based, kind of looking outside the dressage world, and found that there were huge pieces of the mental, emotional part that I could then add in. So it really looks to more of a holistic way of training. And the people who are attracted to me are the horse lovers who, number one, remember why they got into horses in the first place. They're just totally in love with their horse. They care about that feeling of connection and partnership as number one. And they enjoy, first of all, the benefit of doing dressage as far as creating healthy biomechanics. A balanced horse who moves freely with suppleness and looseness and flexibility, that stage. And then, once we get that going, then go on to the fun stuff of, moving up the levels in dressage. So it's focusing on getting results, but getting results in harmony with the horse as the top priority.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your program. How do people, sign up? Tell us all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. My website is dressagenaturally.net, and you can get to everything I have through that. This started by, the first thing I did is I wrote a book, and it's a book DVD, and that's available through my website. You can find it there. It's since been translated into German and Polish by two different publishers, so super proud of that. And so I was teaching all over the world, and a lot of the students at the clinic were kind of like, this is great, but how do I, follow up? So I created a subscription website. It's called my Video Classroom. And every month I put about 3 new videos in there. So right now I've been doing it since 2010. So there's almost 400 videos in there. And we have a place you can comment and things like that. And so what I do is I take what I teach in the book and I show real life examples, me working with a horse or with a student, or I bring in guest presenters and we discuss things. And it's meant to be a constant source of inspiration and ideas for people who are like, I don't know what to do today. So there's always something to show. I show myself riding my horses where it doesn't work out perfectly, and I show how I problem solve through it, which is a big part of how I teach. So that's the video classroom. And then I created some step-by-step courses. One course is called the Habits for Excellent Horsemanship course, and that's really the basics of horsemanship and my own perspective on it. And so that's that course, and it just walks you step by step through this process. The next one is the next piece of the puzzle, which is I call the sweet spot of healthy biomechanics. And that's where we take the happy little partner horse. Everything's going fine. And now we create healthy movement. And I do it in a way that's really different than any of the ways that I've ever seen a dressage trainer teach it. So I really bring the psychology into it. And then after that course, I have Upward Spiral of Successful Gymnastics. So then I teach the 6 essential gymnastic abilities and show how you can build upon your partnership and healthy biomechanics, and then gymnastically develop that. And then alongside that, we made with another guest presenter, a yoga course for riders, and I have a course preparing people to do competitions for the first time, or how to get more out of competition. So it's really meant to be a hub for the real horse lovers who want to put partnership first, but also want to go on and don't want to have to choose between a happy horse and doing dressage up the levels. So it's really a hub and a community where we all share that same goal. And that it's on my website, dressagenaturally.net. And if you click on the tab that says programs, you can find everything there.
Well, I mean, it sounds fully comprehensive of all the things that you may need from just beginning out, all the way into competition and so on. So what have been the challenges of maybe teaching online? I mean, it's you've been doing it since 2010, and maybe a bit of a pioneer in this online learning that now seems to be everywhere. What's the challenges of getting information across on videos or online, or and for people to try and learn that way?
Yeah, it's a great question, and that is one of the most common questions, especially back when I started doing it, was, does this really work? Can I really learn online? Because everybody's like, no, I need someone there in person. And I really thought that also when I first started. But the way I teach actually lends itself to this, because I don't, as a teacher, there's lots of different teaching styles. And some teaching styles are you show up and the trainer kind of micromanages you through the lesson, and you can maybe get a good result. And then the teacher goes away and they're like, okay, now what do I do? So I've always been fascinated. I always get a little chuckle with that because I think people can have experienced that. But I've always been interested in, how do I teach students so that they don't need me? Now, back when I worked at this dressage facility, it drove people crazy because I kept trying to, or drove my boss crazy because I kept trying to get my students off of full training. I wanted them to learn how to be independent. So I've been doing what's called transformative teaching for a long time. And that's where you don't just give information, but you help change the way students think. You help them understand how to problem solve. You give them safe learning environments where it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to experiment. You give students a blueprint and concepts and guidelines, but not this is the right way to do it. And if you're not doing it this way, you're wrong, which really causes people to lose confidence and freeze. I give them the questions that they need to be asking themselves when they're doing the movement. Like, these are the questions you should be seeing. Do I feel this? Is this happening? I teach my students how to actually ask a question. So in some of the step-by-step courses, we have live Q&A calls, sometimes every week. And I actually teach people how to write the question out so that I can answer it better. But what often happens is by the time they finish going through the protocol for how to ask the question, the very last sentence they say is, oh, I think I figured it out. So I really help people with the mindset to help them trust their instincts and be confident. So it's because I would end every live clinic that I ever taught with the last session was my students are riding around telling me when they have it and when they don't. And so the last thing I say to them is they go, see, you don't need me. You can do this on your own. So I knew that the way I teach could translate because of everything I just said. I give them blueprints. I give them the how to problem solve, how to think through it. But then I also give them enough live support that they have a way to reach out and ask a question or do a video coaching session if they are stuck. So I was really excited to go. For me, the transition to online was easy because I've been teaching in this way for so long. And then it actually exceeded my expectations. I thought, well, this will be the next best thing to me being there live. But what happens is the students feel like I'm there with them every day because they can pull me up on their phone. And because we have all the live Q&A calls, like there's people that I used to teach once a year. I'd go to Poland and teach a clinic for 3 days and go home. But through the courses and the programs, I might be emailing or messaging with them or getting them on a live call, every week. So I'm actually giving them much more support more frequently and where they need it the most when they're out there with their horse at home. So it's actually been incredibly it exceeded my expectations about how well it would work.
Well, I love it. And especially right now, I mean, that's one of the things we've been highlighting is, different ways to learn and different techniques that are out there now that people can learn if you can't get to your coach or, especially now that things could get locked down again, that maybe you have some options. So how can our listeners find more information about your programs?
Yeah, just DressageNaturally.net is the place to go. I'm very Googleable. So if you Google Dressage Naturally or Karen Rohlf, and the last name is spelled Rohlf, throw that H in there just to mess everybody up. But it's easy to find my stuff. And on that DressageNaturally.net website, you can find you can sign up to get 3 free videos just to get like a little taste of how I teach. If you want to just get an example, my video classroom, like I said, that's where you get the most number of videos for the least amount of money. It's $24 a month, and the first month is half price. And if you sign up and you pay $12 and you don't feel like you got anything out of it, you can cancel it. And if you really don't think you got your $12 worth, just email me and I'll give it back to you. So, I mean, we really like that because it gives people a chance to kind of check me out a little bit, see if they like the style, see if it's for them. And it's at a very low investment. You can poke around like 400 videos. And then if you need more step-by-step guidance, the courses are there, but you can find everything at DressageNaturally.net. And I have a blog and a podcast. So there's lots of ways to kind of get to know me without a big investment.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and stay safe and well. And we'd like to continue hearing more about your program.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I think you're doing a great service to point people towards this wonderful resource of the internet that's out there. So I think we all need to get the support we need right now.
Absolutely. I think we all agree. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant that supports healthy muscle and nerve function by limiting cellular damage. Green grass is the best source of vitamin E for horses, but most horses don't spend enough time grazing to meet their needs. Hay, grain, and winter pasture provide little to no natural vitamin E. To ensure your horse's vitamin E requirements are met, choose Elevate. Elevate contains a readily available source of natural vitamin E. Elevate is cost-effective and easy to feed. To learn more about Elevate, visit the Kentucky Performance Products website at kppusa.com.
Well, before we go to Wendy Murdoch, we just have a quick word from EcoGold. They want me to talk about their EcoGold Calm-A-Tech pad. This gentle, soothing relief for the sensitive horse. EcoGold's Calm-A-Tech saddle pad is made from medical fleece, which reduces friction and pressure points of contact. It dissipates moisture away from the skin to alleviate discomfort and prevent irritation. It is also shimmable so that you can adjust the thickness. Shop the entire collection of wonderful, wonderful saddle pads at ecogold.ca.
Well, this week we are so happy to have our friend and just general awesome person, Wendy Murdoch, international rider, trainer extraordinaire. Welcome back to the show, Wendy.
Thanks, Reese. That was quite the introduction there.
I know. We were just talking and I got Measurize on the website. So I was trying to focus again because, oh my gosh, we were talking about all the cool things on your website. And I don't know how you have all this energy, but I was on your website last month and a lot of this stuff wasn't there. So, wow, girl, I'm so proud of you.
Well, thanks. You know, a lot of people don't know how I do what I do, and I don't really know either. So I just
unbelievable. You're amazing. That's why you're a friend and we love you. Well, seriously, you go. The Murdoch Method, everyone. You should go to Wendy's website because she has so many amazing resources for so many different things and a cool safari in which I want to go on. But that's another program. But you have another amazing new product coming.
I do actually. I'm so excited about this one. So I discovered this thing. It's called the Anywhere Saddle Chair. And, you know, the thing is we're especially right now, we're stuck in chairs all the time because we're here stuck in, you know, watching Zoom meetings and sitting in our computer. And so we're not moving as much. And so people are sitting in all different kinds of chairs because, you know, a lot of times our home chairs aren't really the same design as our office chairs, and we can't really bring our office chair home. So, you know, there's so many people that A, want to be able to practice their riding when they're not at their horse, right? When they're off their horse. B, are sitting in these chairs that are causing, you know, you get stiff and your hips tighten and, you know, they're not always ergonomically designed for your desk and, you know, just need to move more. And so I've discovered this thing. It's called an Anywhere Saddle Chair, and I just love it. So to describe it to you, the top of it is the shape of a saddle. So it's got, you know, nice narrowness for your hips so that your thigh can hang down. And it's got a ball underneath that sits in a cup of a base. So there's a base that the ball goes in, and the top of it's a saddle. And so you can actually, your pelvis can really be able to move while you're sitting, and it really helps you open your hips. And that's one of the things, you know, when you're sitting in a chair, you've got that right angle between your torso and your thigh, and that's just really not good for riding. So when you're sitting in the Anywhere Saddle Chair, it lifts you up enough to open the hip angle. And then you can do, you know, when you're sitting in it, you're always doing a little bit of movement, but you can really practice moving your pelvis in all directions so you can find the middle. So, you know, pelvic mobility and hip mobility are so critical to good riding. But in addition to that, there's also the workout you get in your midriff. So it helps strengthen your back. It helps strengthen your core stability. And it's just a great way to like imagine you're sitting on your horse. So like if you want to practice your dressage test or anything like that. And, you know, I have for so many years, I've recommended people use gymnastic balls to do that because it was the best thing I could find. And a lot of people wound up getting gymnastic balls as a chair for their desk, but they're awkward. You know, you have to get your chair out of the way and then the ball slides around in the cat closet and it pops. And I've seen that happen. It's not pretty. Okay. And with the Anywhere Saddle Chair, that's the thing. You can put it on a regular chair, a mounting block, one of those crappy plastic chairs when you're watching a clinic, any, you know, solid surface. You can't put it on like a slung back cloth chair, right? That makes sense. Sure. But any solid surface, and it comes in a carry bag. So you can take it with you when you're, you know, going to a ball game or going to a horse show or going, you know, or different chairs in your house, sitting at the dinner table. The key is that you have to have your feet on the floor, right? You don't want to put it on something that's so high that your feet are off the floor because that's dangerous.
That'd be bad.
My chair's adjustable, so I just lower my desk chair down and I put my Anywhere Saddle Chair on top. And it's just everybody that sat in it just absolutely loves it. And so it's super cool.
That's amazing. And I get it because, you know, now I teach my class and I have to grade papers and I'm sitting more and wow, your hips, it really hurts your hips.
Yeah, it's a killer, you know, because we're designed to move just like horses. We're designed to move. And then we sit in these chairs and we, you know, get intense on what we're doing and we kind of cramp down and then everything stops moving. So, and, you know, there's a lot of other types of things that have come out to help riders practice riding. the thing that's different about the Anywhere saddle chair is that it doesn't have a stand. So there's a lot of other different items that I've investigated this for years. Believe me, I keep looking for what's really going to help my students. But when you have a separate chair with a stand, then you have another item that you have to work around in your office or your in your home. And with this, it's literally, hang on, I can tell you how big it is. I've got my handy tape measure here, and I'm just going to, it's 12 inches square, right? And it stands 6 inches high. And again, you can put it on a dining table, a bench, a desk chair, a mounting block. So it takes that idea and makes it portable, like super easy portable. So I'm so excited about this. And it's, right in time for Christmas, where, we're going into winter in some areas of the world, where it's already getting dark early. I'm looking out the window and I got to still go feed my horses, and it's dark out there.
Yeah, I know. It's like, when did that happen? No, please don't.
I just looked out. It's dark out there and I haven't fed my horses yet.
Oh, no. Well, so Wendy, we have been, we've been talking about the Franklin Ball set, which we talked about last month. And I got a listener question, and also a question just even in my own practice here at the barn, is when you're using the Franklin balls, how do you pick which one, the purple fluffy ones we use under the elbows, that one we have. Yep. But then, everybody's different. And I bought the whole set. So how do you determine who uses which set? So does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. I have a somewhat general rule. Like if you're an average build person, I'll typically kind of start with the green moons. If you're a slighter built person, I might start with the blue moons. They're a little bit smaller, but they're still textured. If you don't have a lot of padding, sometimes those can feel hard. So I might even start with the purple plush ones under the seat bones. But it really comes down to butt preference. I hate to say it.
Yeah. I think
and everybody's seat bones have an opinion. That's what I found, is that a lot of it's trial and error. And I just offer somebody a pair. If they're a larger person and the saddle looks a little bit too deep, I might use the orange ones. They're softer but larger. The red tomatoes are smaller and a little bit harder than the orange ones, but they're smooth. And so, I hate to say it, but it really does come down to butt preference and trial and error. But, if I was just to tell people just try one set, I would probably say the green moons. I think that's like the kind of average one. And then, of course, there's the two peanuts, the air-filled peanut, the pale blue one, and then the purple peanut, which is filled with water. I found most of the time with the purple peanut, I've used it a lot with riders that have had injuries to their pelvis or hips getting back to riding. I found that one to be really useful, but other people love it too.
No, I think that's been it. I have had a lot of people like the blue peanut. Yeah. One that's not full of water. I've had that's been a fan favorite, but we kind of did the same thing.
You just have one item. You're not trying to deal with two.
Right.
And so, that tends to be a fan favorite. Yep.
That makes total sense. I love it. Oh my gosh. And you have coming later this year, you also have one other amazing product in which I was looking at, and now I'm focused on that.
I know you.
So I'm like, mind blown. I'm telling everybody
how great this thing is going to be.
You just locked right onto that. So,
I was like, what?
So we've been really fortunate to acquire a product called the Hay Soaker. And, I never thought I would kind of leave rider aids actually as a marketing, for sale. But someone approached me and said, there's this really amazing product. And the person who has it, basically back in 2012, she was producing them, and then just life happened. And it was either continue and expand or kill it. And so at the time, she just had to let the product go. The Hay Soaker. And so we went in negotiation a couple of months ago, and we found that we really hit it off really well. And so we've acquired the company. And the thing is, it makes soaking hay, which is such a common, so many people have to soak their hay for their horses now because of insulin resistance or their older horses. And this makes it so easy. there's so many older women that need to do this for their horse, but the idea of trying to lift a soaking wet hay net out of a bucket, and just the wet, I don't even have to tell you because I know you're soaking hay. It's really hard, but this is completely, it doesn't require electricity except for 4 batteries. It's on wheels. It's portable. Everything, it's going to come completely assembled. You just hook it up to your hydrant, and there's a Bluetooth timer that you can turn it on and turn it off. You can set how many hours you want it to soak, and it drains all by itself. And there's your soaked hay. I mean, it's taken all the effort out of it.
That is so amazing. Seriously, I soak hay for a horse every day, twice a day, and it is a pain. And it really has helped him. So it's one of those things, like anybody who soaks hay, we get it. And wow, to have it ready, I just can't even, mind blown. I can't even.
Yeah. And I know that you went out to Murdoch Method. So if you want to see what it looks like, because we have it up there just to show, it's on murdochmethod.com, and you go to the shop down to veterinary, and it's called the hay soaker. And there's a cute little video. I don't know if you watch the video of it kind of filling with water. But it's really great. And that's very different from steaming, because soaking is getting the sugars out of the hay. But, we really need things that help us save time, because we want to put our energy into riding. And that's what this hay soaker is designed to do, is to take all the stress out of it. I went away on a little vacation a couple of weeks ago, and we left the hay soaker and said, here, you try it, right? And so the person doing the stalls, and Dr. Joyce Harmon, actually, she tried it out, and we just gave her real quick instructions, and she came back and said, that was so easy. And Joyce, she's a really busy person. So if anything's going to get complicated, it's going to kind of get left to the side, because she's really busy. But she found it super easy. And so that was just a great test for us to just leave it and go, here it is, you run it. And they did.
That's fantastic. I love it. Well, Wendy, as always, we just love hearing about all of you just have the coolest techniques and tools that you have come along with, the SureFoot pads that are amazing. Like, you're just so cool. We love you, Wendy. It's true. And your webinars, you're still doing your webinars, right?
Oh yeah, we're still doing our webinars. I had Bob Bowker on today. It was 2 hours, and it felt like 2 minutes, and it was just so fascinating. So that'll be going up. That'll be up on the SureFoot Equine YouTube channel. And we've turned a lot of them into podcasts, which you can go to Podbean and go to Wendy Murdoch on Podbean to listen to the audios. We're going to keep putting those up. Not all of them work great for audio, but so many people tell me that they listen to the webinars driving their car. So we just thought we'd make it easier and just
don't do that. Yeah, that's
the audio. But Philip, I hope you're doing well. You haven't got a word in edgewise between us two girls.
I know. Well, as soon as before we even start recording, Reese jumped on your website and is like, "Oh, that's so cool! Oh, that's so cool! Oh, that's so cool!" So she's just been running this thing, But we're doing okay up here in Canada, and we just had our Thanksgiving, so I think I'm still kind of feeling the effects of the turkey dinner on Monday, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Yep. No, I hear you. That tryptophan comatose. Yep.
Well, Wendy, where and how can we find you online?
murdochmethod.com is where you can find my website. That's where you'll find the hay soaker. You can take a preview. Once we know when we can have a production date, we'll put that up there. Right now, you can just kind of take a look. But if you want to inquire, just put it in your basket, and it's like purchasing it for $0, just like you do with all the webinars. And then we can send you some information when it comes out. And then, of course, on Facebook, Murdoch Method and SureFoot Equine, and on Instagram, same thing. And then all the webinars are on the SureFoot Equine YouTube channel.
Fantastic. Well, we love it. And we can't wait to hear all the new things next month.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're working on new stuff all the time. It's really fun. No slowing down here with COVID. We have been out straight all summer.
Yeah, you've been straight up. I love it. It's so great. Well, thank you so much, Wendy, and we look forward to it.
All righty. Talk to you next time.
Well, Phil, we actually had the saddle fitter in, which was needed because we haven't really seen the saddle fitter. Oh, it's been a long time due to COVID and travel, etc. So we had a saddle fitter in, and it was great because we had one saddle. We put on the Stretch Tech shoulder relief girth, and I can't tell you how much better the horse is going and how much more comfortable he is with that girth. Like, it was remarkable how much better he was.
I just think that the design is genius, and to have the elastic the way it is to allow the horse's chest to expand as he breathes or as he moves, it's just a wonderful design. And we thank Justin for being a sponsor on our show for quite a long time. We've been espousing the truths and how great all these products are, and they really are. And when we do have saddle fitters in, they exclaim about how good the girths are, and so I think anybody who is getting a new girth, and maybe we're getting into the holiday season, check out all the girths. There's lots of options. You can really cater them to what your needs are, and again, just a great company. So thanks to Total Saddle Fit. Check them out at totalsaddlefit.com.
And we have a great Total Saddle Fit tip of the week, right? We love email and Facebook shout outs, everybody, and we love email questions. We try to answer them during the week, and both Phil and I, we both pitch in on that. We love it. But this was a great listener question that we answered, and we hope you enjoy it.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at totalsaddlefit.com.
Well, Phil, as always, we love our emails and Facebook shout outs, and we got a great email for our Total Saddle Fit tip of the week. And I don't know what it is. So dealer's choice, man, what you got?
Well, I think this email has been sitting in our inbox for a little while, so I thought we could just get to it. We get backed up sometimes. We apologize.
We'll always get to them. It may be a couple months later.
Yeah. So the idea of this email is that this is a rider who sounds pretty experienced, but at the moment is riding without a trainer. So listening to our show, looking at videos, reading books, all that great stuff. And the horse is schooling at first and second level. And this is the first horse that our listener has trained on her own. She says, I noticed that as I introduce new, more complex movements, and that's pretty much happening at second level. So yeah, that's right. It can be a frustrating process for her and the horse. If she feels that this is counterproductive and introduces tension. So the question is, what is the process for introducing new movements to the horses?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I would say we are also doing, we've been doing a great segment with Patty Mayer, now going back kind of from the beginning of the spring, where we talk about each level. And so that's a great way to start kind of wrapping your head around each movement. And the other thing is, and I love it, is there are a lot of resources online, first of all. So I think it's always good to know sort of what you're doing. So in second level, for example, let's just take shoulder in. You're introducing shoulder in. So I think it's really important to sort of research what your horse is ready for. And as you're progressing through the levels, that's why we like each level and each test at each level, because there's a progression that we're trying to train the horses through. So I think it's number one, important to know the progression of the levels and when you introduce what item. So for example, you would want to start shoulder in before you started half pass, for example, because they sort of build on each other. So that would be my number one tip, is to know, are you in the correct progression? Number two, if you're taking a specific movement that you're starting, be very clear. And there are great resources out there, for example, on how to sit in the shoulder in and what are the aids in the shoulder in. So that would be the next step, is be very clear with how you're going to introduce it, but also that you know exactly what you're trying to introduce. And then the other thing that I see a lot is, if people are introducing, for example, shoulder in, it doesn't have to be a huge angle in the beginning. Start slow and move forward from there, if that makes sense. Or if you're doing half pass, it doesn't have to be a very tight half pass. Make it a gentler angle so that you're not introducing something that's sort of out of the horse's range. So those would be kind of my first thoughts right away. Phil, what do you got?
Well, I think also you have to be really organized in your thoughts and yeah, this is what Reese is saying. So I like that idea. And I think that it is very hard to have the expectation that the horse is gonna be able to learn new things without at least some tension. Tension comes from, a little bit confusion, right? And for instance, we'll go back to shouldering, because it's, one of the earliest movements that is quite difficult to introduce to the horse, that the horse wants to just either run away from the leg because they're a little bit of a sensitive horse, or kind of do nothing at all because they're not, as I said. So you got to know your horse a little bit, and you've got to have a plan that incorporates your horse's tendencies. Mm-hmm. So if you do have a horse that is really good at leg yield, then you want to just have a very small angle. And if you have a horse that is not good at leg yield, then go ahead, redo some leg yield stuff, make sure it's really solid, so that when you place that inside leg on, the horse is going to move away from that leg. And then you take that, and then the reward is that you take that pressure off. So, really just start one stride at a time. Do one stride. Oh, that was pretty good. Pat, 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 a lot of love. Mm-hmm. And then start all over from scratch and walk, do all the movements and walk, really have it solid, because as soon as things start moving and the rhythm changes and the horse is going faster, it's only going to get more difficult. So if you don't have a nice, relaxed way of introducing, the shoulder in, or even let's take halt from trot, for example. In early levels, you do the halt through walk. That's great. And then you want to go. So you just sort of introduce it slowly. Like you trot along, then you walk 4 strides, and then you halt. And then maybe the next day or the next week, or depending on how nervous your horse is and how much tension there is, then you say, okay, then I'm just going to eliminate 1 walk stride, and then halt with 3 strides of walk between the trot to the halt, and then 2. And then, it's really organized thoughts about how you can gently progress each of the movements so that the horse can handle it, and the rider can be very clear and introduce the movements with a lot of praise and a lot of clear understanding. It only, 1 stride at a time. And then, I know we all want to be going down the whole long side and shoulder in, and like, okay, this is great, but it doesn't progress if you don't try to eliminate as much tension as possible. That doesn't mean there's going to be none, because there is going to be some, but you don't want to make the demands on the horse too high that you're getting nowhere, and it's just, this frustration. So I think part of it is to keep your goals really small and daily. Mm-hmm. And until you feel like, okay, then you build on that. But this is why it takes years and years. Even if you are a rider like Reese, who's brought along lots of horses up into Grand Prix, it's really just methodical, slow, easy progression and training. And if you have a specific problem, send us an email.
Yeah, send us an email. We're here.
I'm trying to do shoulder in. Shoot us a little video. And we will help you. We will help you. We're happy to do it. We will help you as best we can, and send you in the direction of a resource that we think that would be really helpful, because it can be very confusing when you're on your own and you think you've got a good plan and it didn't work. That you've got to maybe change your plan slightly or figure out why it didn't work. And again, really knowing your horse and being able to cater your lessons to that horse depending on their tendencies, or how they learn, and it can be frustrating, and it's kind of like looking in the dark with a flashlight.
That sometimes works.
Many times, yeah. And some days the flashlight doesn't work because the horse is thinking about something, his friends in the paddock, or, dinner is on, or breakfast hasn't been served yet, or whatever, a million little things. So really slow, really progressive, from walk, 1 stride at a time, especially through all the lateral work. And then, the other things are just take your time.
Well, and I can't agree more, because, again, Phil and I lean on each other a lot. We'll send a video like, gosh, can you see this? Like, what's going on? Like, even trainers, like we have help all the way through as well. Like there's never a time where you don't need a friend to say, hey, what's going on? Can you see this? But I agree. Like it's not a linear situation. You don't just teach them like, today we're going to do shoulder in.
And then you just nail that shoulder in.
Nailed it.
Like, oh, that's great. Okay, I'm done that.
Yeah.
Then I put that away for a while. And then today it's going to be Traver. I mean, Oh,
it takes forever sometimes. And you're like, is this horse ever going to get it? Or like, oh my gosh, I have this change from right to left, but man, the left to right is not coming. I mean, it sometimes takes a long time. And I think that that's really important to remember as you go through this. And again, that's why I think it is good that you look at the test as a guide. Because, you can skip levels. Like sometimes, Phil and I will talk about something and be like, what do you think? What do you think? But that's specific, as you, and as you go through training horses, you learn like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll table that for a little bit and work on this, but it is absolutely a journey. And you have to remember that. And sometimes they get really nervous or they can't understand it. And you need to step away or just put it away for a little bit. And I think the other thing I can tell you is that my German trainer said this. He said, Americans are really good at bad practice. And I think his point was, we will train and train and train and train. Well, sometimes training the wrong thing is equally as bad as not training it at all. Does that make sense?
It's worse. Yeah.
It's worse.
Because you have to go back and you have to spend at least as much time fixing the problem that you've trained. So if you have developed a shoulder in that's wrong for 6 months, you have to spend a year fixing it because you have to undo what you did, and then you have to try and progress. So in simple terms, but eventually you make some progress, and then you decide, okay, well maybe I need a little bit more angle, or I need more impulsion. Then that's more refining the aids and refining. I mean, you never stop refining the movements. I mean, they're all so important that, you come back to them. You're like, oh, this could be better. That could be better. So
exactly.
That's progressive training. And that's, shoulder in that you're going to go to a horse show with a 5-year-old is different than a shoulder in that you're going to show in the Prix St. George. And, watching some videos helps you understand those ideas that the movements are progressive. But also just the balance and the different, strength of the horses is also progressive.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
hopefully
and again,
helps.
Hopefully that helps. And again, we're happy.
Shoot us more emails. I know we're a little bit late getting to this one, but we will get to them. And we do love helping in any way we can.
Absolutely. Well, we hope everybody enjoyed that tip. We love it. Keep the email and Facebook shout outs coming. We love them. And always, you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
I think the best way to find me is on Facebook, or my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors for helping us pay the bills. That's Kentucky Performance Products, EcoGold, Han Plastics, the Murdoch Method, and Total Saddle Fit. Don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down, your shoulders back, stay safe, and we look forward to talking with you next week.